This video will show you how to replace the front outside door handle on a Mitsubishi Lancer. This will be mounted to your front door. Let's get into it. Okay friend, let's get started on our job. To remove the outside handle and bezel, have the door open, and we're making our way right to where this port is. Now of course there is a small cover here, so I'm just carefully using a small pocket screwdriver. I don't want to cause any damage to my paint. I just have to make my way in between the plug and the door itself, and we'll pry this out and away. Now that we have that plug out of position, let's look deep inside this area. Now this is where you're going to find a T30 torque screw. This is a captured screw. It's going to stay in this area. We're just going to turn it counterclockwise until it's fully loosened. Let's get my driver here. Using a plastic trim tool, we'll make our way in between where the bezel and the door is and gently start prying. You may have to pull on the door handle a little here. Should be able to rock this out of position. Now that we have that out of position, we're looking along where the lock cylinder and the bezel connect. We can see one locking tab here. And then if you were to look along the other side, we have two locating tabs that slide into these ports. We're starting at that locking tab and we'll roll this out of position. There's our bezel. A quick inspection of our lock cylinder, we'll set that aside. Now let's pay attention to the handle itself. As I start pulling on this and we're looking inside of this area, we can see that the door handle has this hooked area facing up. It's grabbing onto this internal piece right here. That's important to note for the installation process. Now what we're going to do here is gently pull out on the door handle, just slightly away from the door, and we'll slide it towards where the door lock and bezel were. Now once you have that dislodged, the forward side of this along here has another hooked area. It goes in and behind the door. You're just going to pull it away. You can see it right there. And there it is, friend. Now, prior to installation of any brand new part, we always clean and inspect our mounting areas. Now, of course, it's your vehicle. Clean it how you like. I'm just going to use some glass cleaner on a clean rag. The main focus of doing this is to clean and inspect the mounting points where the door handle goes in and around. And once you have the door cleaned, it's time to make sure we clean and inspect our lock cylinder assembly as well. I'm just going to use our clean rag. We'll give it a wipe and lubricate as necessary. Now let's take that lock cylinder and we're going to insert it into our new bezel. As you remember, on the bezel itself and that lock cylinder, we had two locating tabs and one locking tab. So of course, we're going to make sure that we have the locating tabs aligned perfectly, and then we're going to press this in. We're listening for a small click from this. Now after you've heard that audible click, we're just giving it a quick inspection to make sure it is properly secured. It should not move around and especially not fall out of place. Now it's time for the door handle itself. As you remember, on this door handle, we have this angled area that's going to go in first. As we start bringing this portion in, I had mentioned that there's this area inside of here. It needs to fit into the groove on that small hooked area. You can use an angled pick as necessary to align it. Let's try to get along the door here. Now we'll start pivoting this. We're using our angle pick. We'll come underneath that area, gently pry it. Now as you can see, it's properly seated here. As I function the door handle, this is moving. Now it's time for our bezel and our lock cylinder. Looking at the end of the lock cylinder, we can tell that we have this bladed end. If you were to look deep inside this area, you're going to find a port for this to slide into. We'll make sure we have it in the proper orientation as we continue on. Typically, once it is aligned, you should be able to slide this in. We'll gently pull on the outside handle, pressing in on that door lock at the same time. We're rolling it together. Listen for an audible click, and now we're inside this area for our T30 torque screw next. I'm just going to use my bit driver for this. We want to get it started and not cross-thread it into the wrong positioning here. Once it is started in, just go ahead and snug it up until it's fully tightened. Okay, right there is bottomed out. We'll insert our protective plug. You can add some sealant if necessary there. Now, prior to shutting and reopening the door, we want to make sure we test the functionality of the door handle first. For that, I'm going to use a bit driver down along this area. You can also use a screwdriver if necessary. We're right in the latch. Now, if you were to shut the door, this would act as the striker attached to the body of the vehicle. At this point, the latch thinks that it's in the shut position. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull on the outside door handle, and this should want to release. Let's do that one more time here. Apply pressure. Now, assuming that works as it should, let's go ahead and shut the door and reopen it. Perfect. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.